Thank you, and thank you for inviting me to speak today and tell you about our implementation. My company is very particular about sharing information on what we're doing with the outside world, so I'm excited that they've allowed me to share this information with you on the condition of anonymity. As the guys at Tecnoteca know, I'm very excited and passionate about our implementation and what it has the potential of bringing to our company. We started on this journey about a year ago, looking at how this product could help us reach our goals. And during this time, I have not only been implementing CMDBuild and its partner OCS inventory, but also taken the opportunity to sanitize existing data and collect new data to help us move forward. So by way of introduction, as I mentioned, I'm not at liberty to discuss the details too many of our company, but here's what I can share. We're based in the US, serving all of North America, with buildings, people, and IT assets in the US, Canada, and Mexico. I joined the company about 14 years ago when I was number 27 in IT. Now we number over 300 people in the IT organization, with more than 25,000 IT assets supporting almost 7,000 employees. This organization is shown in CMDBuild. Tecnoteca helps us design a widget to show how that organization structure is put together. Alberto.
Hi, thank you, Peter, and hello, everybody. Of course, yes, we have developed a custom widget that extends the standard layout provided by CMDBuild ready to use in order to hierarchically show the manager-employee structure. This functionality can also represent a possible recursive multi-level dependency that is fundamental for the complex organization of the company, and this extension also represents a powerful functionality for the operators, providing them with a quick organizational structure overview. But this represents, as you know, only a minor development that we are performing. Now I leave you the floor to Peter again, that will explain to you what are the main goals and target and how we have faced them.
Thanks, Alberto. Yeah, this incredible growth, it's been fantastic for us, but it also represents us as an IT department with many challenges, and I'm sure many of these challenges are familiar to everybody else. So what are we trying to solve? So over the years, our infrastructure has grown exponentially. We know what we have, but we're not 100% sure on how it all fits together anymore. So it's not only the IT inventory management we need, it's a better view of our landscape. So we know what our business is, but we know what we do, but we're not too sure on who does it, how they do it, and how these pieces all map together. So what does our business function really do? How important is each piece of the puzzle? For example, is taking an order as important as collecting the money? Or is it the other way around? Once we know what the business does, it would be good to know what they need to do to make it work. What solutions are they using to do it? Having got a good inventory of our assets, our business functions and solutions, it would be a huge step forward to understand how all of this connects. Just like everyone else, we have lots of information stored around the company. Databases, spreadsheets, tribal knowledge, diagrams pinned to the wall that you no longer have any idea where they came from or whether they're out of date. You can have all the data in the world, but if you can't turn it into information, it's not worth anything. If I take a server out for maintenance, or worse still, it crashes, what part of the business will be affected and how important is that? Who should I call? Is anyone getting called? Which of my assets are reaching the end of service or end of life or just plain obsolete? How many different versions of my software do I have? Are they all secure? What needs to be refreshed and when? Do I have multiple applications performing the same function? I got an IT service desk. I got a customer service desk. I have a facilities help desk. They all take calls and they all create tickets and assign work. Are they all using the same application? So what have we tried to do and failed at? Well, there's been many attempts over the years to put this right. So we've deployed numerous tools, we've written others to collect information from our environment. We stored the data in spreadsheets, we stored it in databases. We've written numerous queries and reports trying to get the information we need. But although it's helped somewhat, it's not provided us with that key information. The problem is mapping the data to give us the information. It's impossible to maintain this data without an application to link it together. So what can we do to make it work? Well, our attempts at mapping the data failed, so we started to look at it afresh. And rather than reinvent the wheel, we said, let's see if there's something out there that can do this already. Preferably something that's not going to cost the earth, and it's not going to take half of the IT resources 5 years to implement. A CMDB is the right solution to map and maintain these relationships. So while looking for a CMDB product, we expanded our search and started looking at open solutions or open source solutions. On the surface, CMDBuild looked good, and digging deeper, we reviewed the architecture of it, and we were impressed with its design and how easily it could be configured to accommodate our use cases. However, it was really a tool for creating the system we needed, not the system itself. So then we discovered the CMDBuild ready to use. This is most of what we are looking for already built. So back to point number one, don't reinvent the wheel. So here's what we presented as our proposed solution and the benefits we expected to bring. As a partner of Tecnoteca, OCS Inventory was chosen as the discovery agent. This is a lightweight agent deployed to all computers, which collects hardware and software information, consolidating it in a central database. This information is then imported into CMDBuild on a daily basis via a connector. And we've got multiple connectors which pull from our personnel database, our inventory database, our VMware, vCenter, and OCS. And Alberto helped us create this and got more information about that. Alberto.
Yeah, thank you. You can see in this next recap slide as these bubbles that surround the CMDBuild interact with it and to update the informations. First of all, we have the first connection, the connector, the inventory item in, let's say, yellow, that is the master and retrieves data from my Microsoft SQL database and synchronizes in CMDBuild ready to use all the company archive with all the assets and configuration items. Part of these basic and initial information are then integrated and updated by the other connectors, such as the VMware connector that deals with physical and virtual server details, gathering information from the virtualization tools. Then there is the OCS inventory connector that it's capable to retrieve desktop, notebooks, and also managed workstation information and all the software instances that are run on them, discovered by the installed agent. But is also capable to retrieve the available network interface, providing a network topology. Then we have a third connector that is the item catalog that is devoted to software and hardware OCS dictionaries details to collect them. And in this way, it is possible to know which assets run a specific program version or vice versa. Finally, there is the personal connector that is a little bit unrelated with respect to the others, but is fundamental to acquire the overall employees registry. Taking into account this environment, the crucial aspects have been that these connectors have to cooperate and coordinate to each other, running in the correct sequence. Why? Because they manage and update common data, and also they have to have like a joint running status to be track the overall, to track and manage the overall strategy. Finally, I can say that we have also set up a monitoring strategy and recaps tools like a mechanism to register any change, modified or update or delete, notifying them by email to the accorded users. And then also to identify and highlight all the possible mismatches mismatches and daily variations, such as entities that are discovered by on the external sources but not in CMDBuild, or vice versa. But now Peter will explain you how these data collected and organized by the connectors will be used inside the CMDBuild for the company business.
Thank you, Alberto. Just one more note. We're actually in the middle of implementing a new HR system, and the beauty of these connectors are that although we're going to have a new system, all we need to do is modify the connector to pick up the same data and implement that. So very, very minimal risk and disruption to the business as we move forward. The major benefits as we see them are listed at the bottom of this slide, as you can read for yourselves. But I think the major benefits here are going to be felt across the organization as a whole. And since we now have centralized data and it's all mapped, there's one source of truth, and it brings benefits to all these organizations. So where are we now in our process? You can see from this slide, we've moved quite far forward. We're in the process right now of actually mapping some of our functions and business solutions together as we move on. So what is a business function? So a business function is defined here in this slide. Just over a year ago, we performed a business impact analysis, or BIA. The exercise visited every department within the company and documented all their major business functions or tasks. Each task is then assigned ownership, a level of importance to the business, and other key attributes. This is then matched to the business taxonomy, which defines the structure of our business, not to be confused with the organization structure, which can be and is very different. I built the technology then to support this new functionality and imported those details from the business impact analysis into the taxonomy. Alberto has got more details of how we actually did some of that development. Alberto.
Yes, we have extended the standard CMDBuild ready-to-use data model to set up and represent the complexity underlying the business structure in terms of organizational structure, relationships and interconnections, and most of important interdependencies for the impact analysis, which is the core, let's say, target. This allows a global overview of the company organization, and it is fundamental to point out the key components and highlight the weak links or single point of failure, being able in this way to perform a thorough impact analysis and quickly identify the possible solutions that help to solve the problem or the issue. Now, Peter can show you how this structure that we have implemented can reflect into the applicational functionament.
Thanks, Alberto. Yeah, so this screen here showing you the business functions. The screen on the left actually shows the business function, which is creating direct vendor POs. It's done by our corporate buying department, and it's part of the purchasing organization. You can see here some of the details of its parent, so it shows the hierarchical structure, and it also shows some of the other details that we've assigned to that function. The ownership is there, and then also on the right-hand side here, you can see some of the business solutions that are used to actually perform that business function. And this function is actually defined as being business important, so it's very important to the business. The next slide shows our business solutions. So what is a business solution? A business solution is something that's used to perform a function. In our environment, it can be a system, so application or software, a data store, so a collection of data. This could be a database, a spreadsheet, any form of collection of data. An internet solution, so an internal website, an external website, or even SaaS solutions. And finally, we have equipment, which is non-IT equipment that may not be held in our inventory, but may be critical to the success of a function. So each solution has its own attributes, defining the owner, IT support team, the environment, and 4 different service levels. As you can see here on this screen, recovery time objective, real-time performance objective, recovery, etc. So far, everything you've seen really could be put in a straightforward database and very much is just a collection of data. Well, then, as they say, the magic happens, and we have the power of mapping. So the value proposition is the ability to map all of these entities together. The business solution in this screen here is used by 9 different business functions. It resides on 6 different servers. And on the right-hand side of the screen here, you can see one of the servers and some of the details we have about this. So it has a business solution of Joe, which is a Java order entry. It runs in a certain H1 cluster, which is the VM cluster. It's part of a catalog, which is actually a hardware catalog, which shows it's part of the VM structure. And it has 11 different pieces of software that's running on it. So the initial mapping of the solutions to hardware is manual, but once everything's mapped, it's very easy to maintain whenever new servers are added. Our change management process will also document what business solutions are being implemented and what are being installed on which server. So mapping is done at that time. If a new business solution is added, then it'll be added to CMDBuild. Another key benefit of what we're finding here is this hardware and software catalog, which Alberto mentioned. So the hardware catalog is automatically created by the connector. And in this screenshot, I've just done a search on a certain model, a DL360. And what it shows me is that I have 3 different generations of this piece of hardware in my environment. And the generation 8 has got an end of support date coming up middle of next year. So it's in what we call a hardware life cycle of contained. Now, this screen now shows me that I have 23 of these servers implemented across my environment. So now I can go out and start saying, well, I need to replace these, and what do I need to replace them with? The software catalog, similar kind of concept, it's imported from OCS. But here it shows every piece of software we have and the different versions we have running. And in this, we can also assign our different product lifecycle characteristics. We can assign them at a product level, so we know whether the product is a standard product or it's contained or it's being retired, but then also at a version level, so we know at each version how that's interacting. And here you can see a little button, hardware list. This is another widget that Alberto and his team put together for us. And just by clicking on here, it gives us a complete view of where this software is actually installed, which versions and which hardware it's on. So a lot of this development we managed to do ourselves, but a lot of it also came from Tecnoteca, and the help that came from them was great. So working with Tecnoteca, our first thought was we're going to have some problems because of the 7-hour time difference. But to be honest, that has not been a problem at all. Being in the US, if I have a question, I can get that question to them by email, and the next day I normally have a response or a solution to my problem. So that's been fantastic. The language difference also not a problem. I'm pleased to say their English is way better than my Italian. And to be able to get me to extend this model to be where we are today, we had to undergo some remote training. And it would be very remiss of me not to congratulate Tecnoteca on an excellent training course, both in content and in delivery. So what's next for us? Well, we need to complete this mapping that we've started. We're almost there, and within the next few weeks we will have done that. The next thing really is to implement a single sign-on, which with the help of Tecnoteca, we expect to do that. Alberto, I know you have some more information on that.
Yes, of course. The authentication will be managed via Active Directory or Azure or anything, any other kind of possible technology. We have multiple implementation with different customers and different authentication strategies or policies. And this is really, really helpful because it deploys a centralized access archive common to all of the users that will be exploited by CMDBuild to directly get the credentials from there. This is also possible, allows for a possible extension for the single sign-on login that helps the user to only have access to the PC and then navigate and go around freely without putting them credentials that are maybe, a bit annoying sometimes. So this is only to give you some additional technical details. But now, please, Peter, continue with your future goals of the what's next.
Thanks, Alberto. Yeah, we're looking forward to getting the single sign-on because it's definitely a pain having to sign into every application when you get there. So what else is next? I have a couple more databases that I need to migrate from some of our legacy systems and some of the functions there over to CMDBuild. And then I get to retire some of our old databases and some of the old software that does the collection. We can't wait for that to happen. That will then make CMDBuild the source of truth. So one single source of truth. So the more that our people in our organization see what we have done, the more they're asking for. It started as a build it and they will come kind of project, and they've now started to arrive and they want to see more. So very excited to move forward it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.